ECOWAS is set to hold a summit on Saturday to discuss the decision by Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger to exit the bloc in hopes of implementing more diplomatic engagement to resolve the stalemate.
The last summit in December in Abuja, they were now talking about engagement, diplomatic engagement to make sure that everybody comes to the table. But whether these three leaders that are trying to leave, whether they will accept the olive branch.
The continued impasse has spurred a sense of urgency for the resumption of meaningful negotiations.
So one would expect that the summit will talk about perhaps lifting all the sanctions and then removing all the excuses that they have for wanting to leave, because let's be honest, these three countries need ECOWAS more than ECOWAS needs them.
The exit of the three countries has since prompted worries about the future stability of the Sahel region, sparking regional and international attention. ECOWAS has emphasized the restoration of constitutional order. So what will be the outcome of the extraordinary summit? Most hope it will lead to the end of the continuing standoff. Daniel Arab Moy, CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.
Let's get more on this story. Ajek Mangood is in Abuja and joins us with more. Ajek, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us here on Africa Live. Ajek, we know Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso are high on today's agenda. What exactly do you expect the bloc to discuss on this matter, Ajek?
Yes, indeed, Richard. Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger's decision to withdraw is top on the agenda of today's meeting, and there are high expectations that the sanctions imposed by ECOWAS on those three countries over military takeovers of democratically elected governments would, be a decision on that will be taken today. And this follows the letter that was written a few days ago by a former head of state of Nigeria and a founding leader of ECOWAS, talking about General Yakubu Gowon, who wrote a letter to the ECOWAS saying that the sanctions imposed on the three countries should be lifted. And so that is leading to high expectations that indeed the sanctions will be lifted. And also experts are saying that because the three countries had listed had cited the sanctions imposed on them by ECOWAS as one of the reasons for wanting to withdraw, their expectations that at today's meeting the lifting of the sanctions would be considered, and at the end of the day that is likely to happen. And also the other issues like the security situation in the West Africa region is expected to be discussed, the economic situations and the impact that the sanctions has had on the countries, talking about Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali. But the top expectation for this meeting so far is that the sanctions are likely to be lifted.
Well, important point that you've made there on the sanctions, Jack. What else is on the agenda on this summit, and what key resolutions do you expect?
Well, Richard, this particular summit is taking place on the heels of the meeting by the foreign ministers of ECOWAS, which was held about 3 weeks ago, where they agreed that the countries in West Africa need to stay together in order to be able to handle the challenges that the countries are facing, talking about economic and security challenges. And then they have said that, whatever challenges that the countries are facing, all countries need to cooperate, and they do not want Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso to withdraw from the group, and that's why there's an expectation that the sanctions would be lifted. There are also expectations from security experts who have said that the suspension of those three countries is also likely to be considered because part of part of what Yakubu Gowon's letter said was that the countries in the West Africa region need to be united in order to be able to tackle the challenges that the countries are facing at the moment. And so we're likely to see not just the lifting of the sanctions, but also the lifting of suspension of those countries. And also the political situation in Senegal is also likely to be discussed, because Senegal for years has been regarded as a model of democracy in West Africa. And so with the postponement of elections there, there are concerns as to the decline of democracy in the region. And so that is also likely to be discussed among other political and security concerns in the region. And at the end of the day, we do expect resolutions in terms of calling on Senegal to announce an election date sooner than what we already have, so that whatever the struggle that the West Africa bloc has been struggling to curb military takeovers will not continue, because experts are worried that if the West Africa bloc is not able to address the political situation in Senegal, then there would be a decline of democracy in the region. And so we do expect all these key issues